What we're trying to do is reach out to kids that are 15 and under, boys and girls that are blind or visually impaired, and just introduce them to the sport.
Beep baseball.
Get some kids running around, let them know it's okay to run, which is probably counterintuitive to anybody with a visual impairment.
Meet Doug Van Duyne, coach of the Minnesota Millers Beep baseball team.
We use a ball that's a 16-inch ball that's been modified, and the ball actually beeps. We want them to focus in on that cadence, which is kind of, I'll clap with it, set, ready, pitch, swing.
Learn about the game. Learn about how you can help support the Minnesota Millers Beep baseball team. And you can find the Millers on the web at mnmillers.org.
At the end of the day, it's the ability, right? We don't focus on a disability, we focus on the ability.
Welcome to Blind Abilities. I'm Jeff Thompson. Beep baseball. It's a sport that is adapted baseball for people who are blind. And I got the manager of the Minnesota Millers in the studio today, Doug Van Duyne. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. This is really cool because it's a really neat sport, and you got a big event coming up in June that a lot of people can learn about it. Youth can learn about Beep baseball.
That's correct. We're pretty excited about that. What we're trying to do is reach out to kids that are 15 and under, boys and girls that are blind or visually impaired throughout the whole state. Our initial effort has been to reach out through mobility and visual teachers in the state and just introduce them to the sport. So it'll be a very low stress kind of situation, an introductory thing, get some kids running around, let them know it's okay to run, which is probably counterintuitive to anybody with a visual impairment. It's a completely safe environment, and it's a great way to get some fresh air in your lungs. I meet some other folks that might share in some of the same struggles and tribulations that the community deals with probably on a daily basis.
Since we're talking about people learning about Beep baseball, why don't you give us a brief description of what it is?
That'd be great. It's a modified version of the America's national pastime. We use a ball that's a 16-inch ball that's been modified by the pioneers, which are the retired folks from the telephone company. And the ball actually beeps. What we do is we play ball. The pitcher and the catcher are actually on your team, and they're trying to get you to hit the ball. And once the ball is put into play, under the national rules, the bases are 100 feet away. There's first and third, and one of those two will start emitting a buzzing sound. You have to run to either first or third, whichever one is activated, and get to that base before one of the six fielders playing defense takes possession of the ball. And it's pretty straightforward. There's no throwing the ball after the fact. The field is divided up into zones, and there are folks that can see, that have vision, that will be what we call spotters, and they will yell out one time what zone that ball is in so that defenders have an opportunity to get a jump start to that area and try to get the ball in their possession before the runner gets to the buzzing base. I should also add the pitcher and catcher are sighted. That helps. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty exciting. The teams that we play from across the country are extremely competitive. A lot of athletes that have lost either their total vision or partial vision for any number of reasons, but take this extremely seriously. But here's the greatest part of the whole sport. On the field, we're extremely competitive, but the minute the game is over, it's one big happy family. And that's really the essence of sports in the way I think of sports.
Can you describe the equipment that each player is expected to have or that they use during a game?
Sure. So every player, whether you're on defense or at bat, is actually wearing a blindfold. So those that have, some vision, whatever that is, the field is completely level. You can't see anything. So that's the one piece of required equipment that is a must. And the umpires will inspect to make sure there's no cheating. Unfortunately, there are some that try to get an edge. and then it's a softball bat, and that's really the only equipment. You can wear a glove if you're in the field, but actually most of the players find that the glove is a hindrance as opposed to just using their hands, being very tactile and cradling the ball with their hands versus trying to get it in a glove. Other than that, a good pair of shoes is always great. Some folks wear knee pads because there's a lot of diving on the ground. I should also mention that we always play on 100% grass, so it's not even played on a baseball field. Most of the games are played on a soccer field that has been marked off in accordance with the field dimensions like a baseball field, with 175 feet being a home run. So if you hit the ball in the air 175 feet, it's an automatic home run, which gives you 2 points. The ball does have to travel 40 feet for it to be considered fair. The pitcher's 20 feet away, pretty close, but there's really no other specialized equipment other than those buzzing bases and the beeping ball.
So you kind of key in, when you're up to bat, you're kind of keying in on that beep. And do they say pitch or anything when it's released?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a great question. So the pitcher does use a cadence, and there is required verbiage that's used, and it's either set, ready, pitch, or set, ready, ball. Pitch or ball, the only two words that are interchangeable, but that sequence has to be the same. So when the pitcher says set, that lets the defenders know something's about to happen. The batters don't really key in on the beeping of the ball. In fact, in our batting practices, we use dead balls, and we want them to focus in on that cadence, which is kind of, I'll clap with it, set, ready, pitch. And on the fourth one, we want them to swing. That's the rhythm of our cadence. Mm-hmm. Set, ready, pitch, swing. The beeping is really for the defenders to try to find the ball once it's in play.
So you just get that rhythm down and boom, 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 swing.
Yeah, and as long as they swing consistently, our pitcher will put the ball in the strike zone based on that person's swing.
Well, that's kind of sweet. Now, you're talking about it's a big family after the game, and that might explain why you're going to Bolingbrook, Illinois for a beep baseball bash.
Yeah, that's probably the closest tournament to us. There have been a couple already down in Texas. There's a couple coming up in Indiana, but Chicago, it's a 6-hour drive, but it's the closest tournament to us. The Lions of that community, Bolingbrook and the surrounding communities, do a great job in putting that on. There are 8 teams, and it's always probably the top 7 teams that go. We are kind of in the middle of the pack in terms of ranking nationally, but these are all the top 10 teams for sure. And we like it because they're good teams. And so that really, early on in the season, allows us to see what we have to work on prior to the World Series. It is a family atmosphere. Everybody looks forward to seeing each other down there in Chicago. Pretty much it's the same teams that come. And then the World Series, which we'll probably talk about in a little bit, is a week long. And so many families take that as their vacation just to reconnect with people from all over the country. There's a team from Canada, team from Taiwan. Don't know that the team from the Dominican Republic is coming this year, but there are teams from all over that come to the week-long tournament at the end of the summer.
So you're the Minnesota Millers, but you get around, Chicago to Oklahoma, playing teams from out of the country. It's quite a festive type of a deal. I can see why people would want to use a vacation, because you've been in this for a few years, so you probably know a lot of people that'll be attending.
Yeah, and like I say, when we're playing, they're probably not my best friend. Once the games are over, for those of us that are able to have adult beverages, we'll be yucking it up in the bar and just one big happy family. It's just a really unique thing. I've been coaching since I've been 17 years old. I've coached a lot of sports, and I've seen a lot of ugly in sport. There's none of that in this program.
Well, that's really cool. How many years has the Minnesota Millers been in existence?
Oddly enough, the sport started in Minnesota back in the late 70s. And at that time, there were 4 teams in Minnesota, and it kind of grew. But I would say in the early 90s, the programs in Minnesota fell apart, and we resurrected it. Our first World Series was in 2010. We were able to get enough people together that really wanted to play. So since 2010, we've been playing. So this will be 2019, 9 years.
Oh, wow. Time flies when you're having fun, right?
Exactly.
So what kind of arrangements do you have? Like spring comes, you have spring training practices, you get together and see how the team's doing, see how everybody's interest is in it. And of course, you're going to interest a lot of youth here by having your expo here. I think it's June 15th.
Yep, that's right. June 15th.
Yeah.
Correct. We try to get indoors it's Minnesota, right? So, and like this year, there was snow on the ground not too long ago.
Yeah, it could be tonight.
Exactly. So we try to get indoors and do some batting, just get people loosened up a little bit, see who's coming back, making sure there's no injuries, and just starting to get loosened up. We had our first practice 2 weeks ago outside. It was really good. We had one last Saturday. This Saturday, we'll be doing our fundraiser, but then we'll practice again the following Saturday. So up until June 9th, or 7, 8, 9 actually, is the Chicago tournament. We don't have a lot of weekends, and we have people from throughout the metro area. A lot live in the Twin City metro area. A few come up from Rochester. I have one of the players out by Waconia. So as you can imagine, logistically pulling people together, can be daunting at times because everybody, for the most part, needs a ride of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's quite a commitment. I mean, people are committed, so they must be enjoying it to keep coming back.
I think so. One of the unique things, we have a player from Hudson, Todd Paulson is his name, great guy, has been losing his vision due to a virus that he had. It was a cold or pneumonia, and this was going back several years. An avid softball player all his life. Found out about us, came over, been a great asset to the team, not only in terms of a player, but as a person. But through beep ball, has connected with a young lady, and they're engaged now. So how cool is that? I mean, it's not just a sport. It transcends into life and life skills and relationships and things of that nature.
Well, it's really neat that it's a sport, it's an activity, and it's a passion once you get a taste of it.
Yeah. If you don't mind me putting a shameless plug in.
Oh, no, plug away. That's what it's all about.
Nice. So this Saturday at Tom Reed's Hockey City, we have our fundraiser. It's the Minnesota Millers Beer Bash / silent auction. That runs from 1 to 4. You can buy a mug online for $15. It's a Minnesota Millers collectible mug, and then you get to drink free until the keg runs out. Or you don't have to drink beer, and you can just come on down and put in some bids on some pretty nice items, packaged from the Twins Diamond Club and all kinds of good stuff. So
there you go. So I suggest anybody that's listening, check it out. Check them out this Saturday at Tom Reed's. That's Saturday, what is it, 1 to 4, right?
Yep, 1 to 4. Correct.
Another opportunity in June the 15th for the youth to come out there. But if you're interested, just to go out there, check it out, talk to everybody. It seems like a friendly bunch.
Yeah, we get along pretty good. We have a good time. We like to keep it loose. We don't get too serious about it. Of course, nobody goes out to lose, but at the same time, it's all about building confidence in a variety of levels, and building successes. Our website is mnmillers.org. And we try to keep that up to date. So there's a ton of information on there. If anybody wants to check that out, we post our practices there. We post our events on there. It's a good way to keep in touch.
Yeah, I really like the name because my dad used to watch the Minnesota Millers back in the day. Was it the Minneapolis Millers or Minnesota Millers?
Yeah, it was Minneapolis Millers. Yep, back in the day. You bet. Well, maybe we'll have to get you out there, Jeff.
That sounds like fun.
We'll slap a blindfold on you. No commitment on your part, but you can check it out, see firsthand.
No reason not to show up on Saturday either to support the team and get my mug.
There you go.
And you can do that in advance. Someone can go on the website, mnmillers.org right now and order a mug. They're only $15.
Yep. And then it gets you all the beer you like to drink until the keg runs out. And if you're not a beer drinker, you can put pop in it. Nobody will give you a hard time.
There you go. And supporting this will help you get to the World Series down in Oklahoma for the big games.
Yep, and that's exactly why we do it. All the money that we generate, minus whatever the cost is, goes directly to the players. A lot of the players have limited income just cause, but it roughly costs everybody about $5,000 to participate in the tournaments in the World Series between travel and lodging and all that stuff. So every dime we get, we pour right back into the players to help them offset any costs.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even taking a van or getting transportation to Chicago, anywhere, that's all you guys putting this together because of your passion, your love for the game, and it costs money to do all that. So if anybody's listening, wants to help support this great sport, go ahead. That's mnmillers.org.
Yep, there's a donate now button on there too, so they don't even have to buy a mug. And like I say, a dime at a time works for us.
But the mug's pretty good. I guess it's a frosted glass with 2 baseball bats on an X. And what do you describe it?
Yeah, it's actually our logo that we have temporary tattoos for and the like. But it's kind of a tribal look. It's a home plate, 2 bats crossed over it with a ball in there and some tribal scribing that doesn't translate to any significant meaning. And with the word Minnesota over the top and Miller's under the bottom in a Nordic font to it.
There you go. Well, Doug, good luck with all your games this year. Hopefully people come out, check them out. I hope they do because it's been around for a while. And I remember we practiced beep ball a long time ago and that beep, beep, beep. But no one told me about that cadence. That makes sense now. We were just listening for the beep. I like that. Boom, 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 swing.
Yeah, it is kind of addicting, whether you're sighted or not. When you see the game, everybody is just amazed at the level of activity. And really, at the end of the day, it's the ability, right? We don't focus on a disability. We focus on the ability.
Great. That's awesome. Well, Doug Van Duyne, thank you for coming on to represent the Minnesota Millers, and good luck this weekend.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. We appreciate the opportunity to spread the word, and we'll have a beer together this weekend.
All right. That's Tom Reed's 1 to 4. Get your mug. We'll see you there.
Thanks.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities, and download the free Blind Abilities app from the App Store and on Google Play. That's 2 words, Blind Abilities. You can also enable the Blind Abilities skill on your Amazon device. Just say, enable Blind Abilities. A big shout out goes out to Chi Chow for his beautiful music, and you can follow Chi Chow on Twitter at El Chi Chow. Chi Chow. Chi Chow.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations
and the
realities
of blind abilities. The realities of blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, Blind Abilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.